Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dissonant Waves, coming back at you with episode 52. We've now had a solid full year of Dissonant Waves episodes, even though we have 20 minisodes as well. I'm Dominic. Trix and Riddlin are here.
Hello.
Hello.
And, we've made a mistake this week.
Look, my
Oh God,
my
we
album,
have.
one of my albums was absolutely interesting to listen to. I kind of want to kill Tricks, not gonna lie.
Oh, I knew that I would have the worst album.
I,
I want to start with Dee Dee Ramone. I know we haven't done an intro, but I just want to get right into it because I have a couple things to say, which it just
Okay.
could get us demonetized. But are we ready to start it?
sure, one of the albums we're listening to is Dee Dee King, Standing in the Spotlight, his Dee Dee Ramone's rap album. Let's get into it.
Never before have I listened to an album, searched up the person on Wikipedia, and gone, "I'm glad he's dead. I don't want to listen to another piece of work come out from this person." Oh my god,
Oh
I
my
was
God.
never into the Ramones.
Neither was I.
In the first way, they had a couple songs that I liked. I Want to Be Sedated. That's about it. And this is a monstrosity. One thing I love is that it mixes rap and rock before Rage Against the Machine got popular, so you get points for
Oh
that.
hell yeah.
So I feel like the only benefit from this album is that I can now piss off people by saying the true rap rock album is this, not any Killing of the Name album, not any Rage Against the Machine album.
Correct.
Sorry, I just started killing my name in my thoughts for some reason. But I don't think any song has made me go, why the fuck did you create this? This is just bad. Than German Kid. What the fuck?
Is German Kid the breaking
I
point?
think German Kid's the one where he raps in German.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure what the song's supposed to be, but it's I'm half German. I've learned some German.
Yeah.
Hear me rap in German.
You know, the song is better for that because he raps in German. It doesn't rap in English.
Yeah,
I
it
think-
is a lot better when I don't understand what the fuck he's saying. I'm not gonna lie there. This is bad. This is the first time in forever where I've actually had to stop the album just because I could not handle listening to it anymore. Any other time that I've had to pause an album whilst I've been listening, it's usually because I've been working, had stuff to do. Sometimes I do genuinely need a break.
Yeah.
I just can't have music happening. This is the first time though where the album itself caused me to need that break. This was just painful to listen to. I could listen to the whole of the Farrah Abraham and the Emily Montes stuff and the Cardinal Heart stuff. I could listen to the Caretaker shit without having needing to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that was emotionally devastating.
The question I have is: are the Ramones, and specifically Dee Dee Ramone, one of the most successful conservative acts of all time?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Look, in the words of Friends of Rom, Johnny Ramone was in a fucking good band, but he was a cunt.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, like, this completely screams like conservative guy tries to do popular thing.
I also give him points for getting clean off heroin. It didn't last long, obviously.
No.
But I feel like when you're getting clean and this is the story on Wikipedia. The one person who he was getting clean with, he offered to say, "Do you want to join on this album?" And they declined. They knew it was not a good idea.
Yeah. I will say that The Crusher is like a half decent song if it like when it's recorded by other artists, like the full band of the Ramones recorded it, and it's a pretty decent song. But that's a low bar.
But
My
like,
favorite. I just want to say quickly, Dominic. I know I'm interrupting you, but my favorite part of this album was the YouTube video that I had to find to actually listen to this damn thing, where somebody commented that this album does not kid around. 10 seconds in, you already know it's going to be a piece of shit.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
I mean, if there's anything that you can say positively about it, it's that the backing tracks have genuine effort put into them. Somebody tried to make the songs themselves good. Like,
Yeah.
half the time, the songs are fine. It's just that he comes on and he ruins it by rapping.
His
Yeah,
his vocals are the worst out of every single thing that we've listened to, and we listened to in 2 albums of full on auto tune.
yeah.
This is bad. I hate this. I'd throw it in the fire.
Like, Mashed Potato
Throw it
Time.
in the volcano.
Mashed Potato Time is a cover.
Yeah.
The original song is by someone named Dee Dee Sharp.
Speaking of covers, how bad is the artwork for this thing?
Oh my god, it screams white dad.
Yes, conservative man tries to do a cool thing.
I'm not surprised that a conservative man thinks the cool things is something that was cool in the 40s.
I mean, like the story I think is he learned about rap in rehab and was like, oh, I could do that.
Apparently not.
The
He
confidence,
doesn't even really rap though. He's so slow.
right? He just thinks it's about the rhythm, and kind of is, but also the speed is important too here.
Oh yeah.
It's he's more close. Like the whole week, I was kind of thinking, what is he more close to than hip hop? And I finally understand what he's closer to. He's closer to the guy who talks in all the B-52 songs.
You shut the fuck up about the B-52s.
Like, what it is.
No, I'm not trying to do a dig at the B-52s. I don't listen to them really, but I'm not trying to do a dig. But I'm saying he's closer to the vocal structure of that guy than he is of any good rapper.
At least Fred Schneider has the cartoonishly gay voice going for him.
Oh, definitely.
Like, what I think happened is that Didi Ramone listened to The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, and that's all he ever listened to. All he heard was, "Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head." And he's like, "Perfect, I got it. We're good."
Music is solid, boys.
And like,
Get it?
this is the guy who wrote the Ramones songs. He is credited as being one of the primary Ramones songs writers. He is credited for being the guy who came up with the name the Ramones. He has a place in rock history. And this is just so terrible. It somehow doesn't negate everything he did, but it also is like, man, he really had a very specific avenue in which he could be successful.
So
Yes.
going back to the artwork, just specifically the middle picture and the one to the right
Yes.
of that reminds me so much of Corey Feldman, and that is not what you want to be reminded of when you're thinking of music.
Or did Corey Feldman take this consciously because he loves this so much?
Knowing Corey Feldman's music, that's a good chance.
Like, imagine being
Can we?
imagine being
Go
a
ahead.
fan of the Ramones in the 80s. And it's 1989. It's March 1989. And you hear about this and you buy it at the record store. And you come home, you're 13, you put it on your record player and it's just this.
That's how I felt when I bought Blink-182's Neighborhoods.
You're going to say something, Trix?
Yeah. Oh shit. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Can we blame this album for all of just Fred Durst?
Fred Durst has enough moments in his career which are so cheesy it's fun.
Yeah, Fred Durst
Like,
is better than this.
He holds the record in Hottest 100 history for the most amount of F-bombs in a single song.
Yeah, isn't it like 42 or some shit?
I believe so.
Also,
Because he makes a line like, "This 40-second fuck" or something like that.
he at least was
Trying to remember what the song was. It was released in 2000, I believe.
his public persona is
I'm
also at
looking
least
it
more
up right now.
approachable than Dee Dee King's. Like, you just look at that cover art for Standing in the Spotlight, and you do not want to interact with that man.
I think it's My Generation.
It's Hot Dog.
Well, My Generation was the one that made the Hottest 100.
Gotcha. Hot Dog is the one that I'm thinking that has all the fucks in
It's not the same album though.
it. Yeah.
Is this the
Oh, yeah.
album?
Chocolate Starfish and a hot dog flavored water. That's still one of the greatest titles.
Oh my god.
Not that great of an album, but a great title.
It perfectly describes what you expect from that band.
Oh, so there's a Tism
Yeah.
song called Honk If You Love Fred Durst.
I can't fucking wait until Morrissey dies.
I love how we've evolved. Like this chat is going past Dee Dee King because we kind of just want to find ways to not talk about him anymore.
No, but like this is the album, whether people realize it or not. Whenever they try to do parody white man rapping, like my name is Dominic and I'm here to say something something in a major way. Like this is that album.
Yeah.
This is it.
Oh yeah. I will say that I think there are some songs that had some potential on it.
Yeah.
Like Emergency. That's if you put a different vocal line on it, it would be a Green Day song.
Is that the one where it keeps going, Dee Dee, pick up the phone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that shat me to tears.
And as I stated previously, the Crusher I quite like, but I think the worst.
I think you got some Stockholm syndrome here. Not gonna lie.
I think the worst fucking song on this album has to be "Commotion in the Ocean."
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Here's a challenge. Okay, name the worst song that is not bad, or that is not only bad because Dee Dee King raps on it. Like
"Commotion in the Ocean."
Yeah.
Just take the rapping out of it. It's "Commotion in the Ocean."
Yeah, because it's just a shitty surf song, and I like surf, but that's bad surf.
That's fair. Because like I'll give props to German Kid having like I like the backing vocalist on it. It's Debbie Harry, I believe. Yeah, she's great.
It is. Debbie Harry is on German Kid and Mashed Potato Time.
As nonsensical as just saying half American, half German is in your backing track, that song is fine until he starts rapping. Commotion in the Ocean is just bad all around. Also,
I'm going to read that thing about German Kid I found. Finish the point.
Yes.
Okay. This is a quote from an article from the producer. They were so loving towards Dee Dee. They were his friends and they wanted to support him. Debbie's vocals took maybe 15 minutes, and Chris played Ride of the Valkyries really slowly over German Kid. I remember him cracking up that it was gonna work. We did a crazy remix of that song with a lot of samples from the producers. So we had Dee Dee rapping over Springtime for Hitler. It was so outlandish and it exploded into a German boys choir. And the label was like, no way are we putting this out. That was the only time where we used traditional hip-hop techniques.
I bet you that song would have been better if they'd done it.
Yeah, would have been.
Oh, it would have been.
Like, imagine actually trying to do a hip-hop album in the hip-hop style. I think this album would have been so much better.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's a good line that my brother once told me, and he got taught it from his teacher, and it was an actual critique of his music, because he was doing music production at TAFE over here, and his teacher's critique was this: look, you're breaking all the rules, but that's not the problem. The problem is that you don't actually know that you're breaking all the rules, and that's kind of the case with Dee Dee King here. He's breaking a lot of rules of hip hop, but it's so obvious that the reasons why they're being broken is because he doesn't actually have an understanding of hip hop. He's listened to a lot of hip hop, obviously, but this album has pretty much no understanding of hip hop in it.
Yeah.
You know, it has the understanding that, hey, I've listened to The Message and I've listened to Run DMC and Aerosmith doing Walk This Way, and that's it.
Walk this way.
That was after this album.
No, it wasn't. Shut up.
Yeah, it was.
I'm pretty sure it was after this album. I think it was 96.
I think the original Walk This Way was the 80s, but I don't think the Walk This Way with Run DMC wasn't until after.
Walk This Way.
Run DMC was
86. Yeah.
It was 86. Oh, yeah.
I can believe that, yes.
When was the original Walk This Way then?
75.
75. I knew the remix came out a long time after the original did. I just thought the original came out later than it did.
I am so not into Aerosmith that I thought that the Run DMC version was the only version.
Aerosmith's one of those bands where they have like one or two good songs, and then none of them were their hits.
Fuck Aerosmith.
Yeah, pretty much.
Aerosmith is only good for one thing, and that's because Steven Tyler had Liv Tyler.
Well, I was gonna say their best songs are Walk This Way and Walk This Way Run DMC remix.
Liv Tyler's great, but that everybody else associated with anything with that, no. But
Anyway,
Shit, I just spilled
I'm tired of even thinking of Dee Dee Ramone anymore. There's a phrase called a second death is when someone says your name for the last time. So let's help get us closer to that by moving on to the next artist.
let's do favorites and least favorites, everybody.
I've already mentioned mine. Favorite is the Crusher. Least favorite is Commotion in the Ocean.
Look, my least favorite is a tie between Mashed Potato Time, Too Much to Drink, Baby Doll, Poor Little Rich Girl, Commotion in the Ocean, German Kid, Brooklyn Babe, Emergency, The Crusher, and I want what I want when I want it.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Worst song, probably Commotion in the Ocean. I think Brooklyn Babe is also a bad song. Like, The Crusher is at least interesting. I also would contend that you could probably put Baby Doll on another record. It would probably be the same. It would probably be the most unscathed, but that's it.
Yeah.
Baby Doll at least has like that cheesy 80s-ness to it and not a lot of rap on it.
Yeah. Apparently he played that for his wife and they both cried. I'm sure it was for another reason for his wife.
He's like, he wrote a song about me and it's on the worst album you've ever made? Oh no. It's worth noting they got a divorce the year after this came out. That's that though. That's Dee Dee King. And let us move on to the other act that's talking about royalty this week in Emily Montes.
This is just a beauty of an album, I reckon. Look, you thought Sleepify was going to be the most confusing 5 minutes we've ever listened to, but I think I've successfully combated that. And go ahead.
I'm gonna be honest. I do not feel comfortable talking about this album at all.
I mean, the idea that she could be being exploited or something is definitely frightening. And like,
so from what I've read about this is someone who's apparently a TikTok star. And anytime I hear a kid's a TikTok star, I always think, or any kid being a social media star, I always think that maybe the kid doesn't have exactly that much hand in what's happening there. This is definitely an interesting album, and I want to put out, I'm not going to mock the kid or anything like this, like I did Dee Dee Ramone, because Dee Dee Ramone's fun to mock. This is like, if the kids had full creative control over this and has put out something that she's absolutely happy with, then well, more power to her. I put out trash all the time myself.
yeah.
But this is definitely still. It's weird. There are moments that reference Corona in here. There's a lot of Roblox references. There's kind of short disses towards other artists. Like, there's a one track that literally all it does is diss Nicki Minaj and Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
That's all it does. It's so, for an album that's it's bad. Straight up, it's bad. But for an album that's bad in this interesting way, and it went viral, which is just somehow funny and cruel at the same time.
One of the articles. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you can see that the one song that can actually properly get streams on this album, because it's over 30 seconds, has 446,000 streams to it.
I mean, I've lost my train of thought. Fuck.
You dared me to do this album, Dominic.
I did dare you to do this album. I did. And like Sleepify, we have found our little short album for fucking April Fool's shit. And it's
God.
Yeah.
I just want to say that the album cover is actually also very comparable to Standing in the Spotlight.
But she's happy. She's trying.
Right, it is.
I think she does it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
Oh, what I was going to say is one of the articles I was reading. I think it was probably one of the earlier ones that was written because a lot of college art, a lot of college papers have somehow picked up this album, which I guess read into that how you want. But one of the articles I was reading was like, actually, she's not that popular on TikTok, at least at the time. Like she maybe had like a few 100,000 views or something. Was I think what it topped out at the time. I mean, I'm sure that's exploded because the internet loves irony. But
Oh, absolutely. And that's pretty much the reason why the other album that I picked has been chosen as well, and because of how it became popular. I mean, cult status with outsider music has always been a thing.
yeah,
I mean, look at Daniel Johnson.
Yep. I was gonna do an outside artist too before I discovered Dee Dee King. I was gonna do the Shag's History of the World.
I still wanted to tell me that at some point.
I'm
Yeah,
glad. I'm
it's
glad I
interesting.
picked some. I'm glad that I picked some outsider music, to be honest, because outsider music, even when it's been bad, like the Shags album is bad, but it's bad in an interesting way.
Yeah, like I mean, it inspired like Frank Zappa, which is
Yeah.
always interesting to hear.
Well, I'm pretty sure Frank Zappa even says that the Shags were a better band than the Beatles ever were.
Yeah, I think that he did say that, but he said a lot of things.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain even liked the Shags album, so that's something.
Yep.
Well, Kurt Cobain also was one of the reasons Daniel Johnson got popular.
Sure.
Yep.
And there are gonna be people who probably will cite Emily Montes as a reason they got into music because they're like, well, if a 5-year-old could do it, why can't I? Because that's like the thing I think is an interesting angle of like whether or not she handled all the production herself or like she got help. This is a 5-year-old.
It's like a 99% chance that there's probably an adult in the production here.
Right, but this is like a 5-year-old taking the driver's seat and just like doing it. You know, this is the technology she's familiar with. This is the technology, the world that she's growing up in, where it's just she can just put this out if she wants to.
I gotta see if I can find the album or the EP or whatever I did when I recorded when I was like 5. I just remembered I did that.
Yeah, you gotta ghost that one.
Yeah, because my father used to teach guitar at a guitar studio and they had a recording studio. And one day they just thought it would be funny for me to like record like an album or something, like a couple songs. And we made CDs.
You wait until now to drop this on us, really?
Yeah, if you find it, we're covering that for an episode.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll look for it.
I mean,
look,
God.
I think whilst we're here though, because the Emily Montes is a short album, it was kind of as a joke. Let's wrap it up and get to the actual main album.
I mean, half the songs are called Emily Montes, so that's something.
I actually liked My Teenage Dream Ended, I'm gonna admit.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're gonna just go straight into My Teenage Dream Ended, and we're just gonna all say that we were pretty uncomfortable with the Emily Montes.
I don't feel comfortable critiquing like a literal 5-year-old's music, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
I would give points to Robotacy for actually having like interesting title and an interesting meaning behind the title, but that's about it for that.
Fair enough. Alright, My Teenage Dream Ended. So this is the album that's credited with being the start of PC music. And if you don't know what PC music is, you're missing out on one of the most interesting new waves of music that's coming out. We have a couple of more popular artists that kind of dabble in it, and most notably Charlie XCX.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have some albums that have been quite critically acclaimed come out of recently that have been into PC music. Sophie's Oil of Every Pearl's on Insides, Rip Sophie. 100 Gex, 1000 Gex. Absolutely, absolutely crazy, brilliant albums that are under this PC music label. And PC music started due to this album.
Yeah. I will say, once you mentioned 100 Gex after the episode, after I listened to this album, I'm like, okay, I'll give it a listen to 1000 Gex and see how I like it. And Quote Your Dead, yeah, I actually like that.
Yeah.
So I quite enjoyed this album. It's not great, but it's fun.
Like
it's ironic. Like there was definitely a lot of critiques to get this album.
Yes.
But with every critique, you can go. So, On My Own is kind of a banger. It's
Like,
shit,
Yeah.
but it's a banger.
like she is able to produce a banger. Like her song "Blowin'," which is just a single, it's actually kind of good. Like she clearly listened to the song and was able to do the vocals to the song, and not like this thing where she just had to record the vocals, kind of knowing what she was working with, but not really.
So there's just no better lyric that I've just laughed along to than "My anger is my power, my heart just stares."
Yeah,
And
I.
there's a song on here called "Unplanned Parenthood."
Yeah.
It's also like the weird other version of the album that we found on Spotify, which
Mm,
some of the songs are just retitled. The album is restructured. Some of them are just gone.
mm.
Yeah.
Like the first time I listened to this album, it kind of just seemed like this was someone who had no talent. That is funny. For someone
Sorry.
who had no talent when it came to singing at all, managed to finance an album and get and tie a producer to it. And whoever produced this album, who produced it, Frederick M. Cuvers, has done so much work to
Yes.
try and just get anything to work here. It's astonishing. I want to hear the unedited vocals. I'm interested
Yeah.
if there's that much auto tune, because this wasn't auto tune done for an effect. This was auto tune done to get something to just work if it could. Like
Yeah.
this is an album that didn't purposely create a genre. It accidentally,
Yeah.
because they were trying to repair it so much, it just crumbled.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The vocals are jarring when you first listen to them,
Mm.
but by the time I was done, I was able to just get past it, and it was just part of the experience. Like
Exactly.
I stopped paying attention. Like the beats just work so well that I stopped caring about. Oh, that's a weird line, and that auto tuning sure is kind of jarring. It's like it's fine. It works. Like this album kind of works.
Now, I reckon we probably should have just also watched some of the more popular media to watch with Farrah Abraham, including Farrah 2 Backdoor. Yes, that's exactly what you think it is.
I mean, we could have watched Teen Mom.
She got fired from Teen Mom because of her choice to star in porn.
Well, yeah, it's a nice Christian show, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it like talking about exploitative, like taking advantage of your person, your star or whatever. Like, isn't that kind of what Teen Mom and all that kind of does? It exploits the situation for their own
Oh,
gain.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, like all those shows, 16 Pregnant, and all that stuff. Like, that is a more public version of like, hey, this person's in a situation. Let's talk about it and expose it with maybe the intention of like pointing awareness to it, but also just kind of like this person's now in pop culture. This person who is having this shitty life right now, their struggles are just for everyone to see.
I love though if you just actually go onto the on the Wikipedia and it's got the filmography and all these television stuff. It's all just these reality TV show, and then she's appeared in
Yeah.
4 films: Farrah Superstore, Backdoor, Teen Mum, Farrah 2, Backdoor, and more. You know exactly what those are. Adam
Oh, yeah.
K. That's apparently an actual movie, and then a film called Axeman 2 Overkill
Yeah,
as a supporting role. So you know that film's good.
she's having some ironic like, let me cast you because you know you're a celebrity of note of sorts, and that's
She went on Teen Mom, wrote a biography about it, and put out an album with it, and then did a sex tape, and then wrote a biography about that. If that's not milking, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I will say I respect the X-Men 2 Overkill name of Fannie Ray Baker, a play on Tammy Faye Baker.
yeah.
This is look, it's just a fascinating album. There's not really
Yeah.
much more to say other than that.
Like,
You can find yourself just unironic, especially if you listen to a lot of stuff like 100 Gex, you'll find yourself unironically liking this, but it also really makes me appreciate 100 Gex a lot more.
Oh, absolutely.
like
Because
I
when you have people who actually know what they're doing during the sound, it's like, yeah. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you, Dominic.
no, I'm just saying I actually kind of like this, and I don't know which album's my number one this week.
I think I got a solid number one.
Well, is anyone got anything else to say about this, or shall we move on to Dominic's crush?
This is like, I mean, this is like our first proper like EDM album, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what? We could
I feel like we're just insulted EDM.
we,
Probably.
we could have picked a
we
worse
did,
one.
No, we did do what was the one that I got mad with the reprises before the main song.
Oh
But-
yeah, Fly Facilities.
Yeah, I guess. That and then,
I mean, EDM is a whole kind of spectrum. So,
Sure.
Yeah, but that was more like of a housey more than it was a dance.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can see where The Guardian comes in calling this one of the best albums of 2012. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Or where Tiny Mixtapes is like, this is one of the best albums of the last decade. I can kind of see that. I don't know if I go that far, but like I can see the appeal once you listen to it
Fantano
enough.
put it as number 200 of his top 200 albums of the decade, and we don't know if it was a troll or not. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that sounds like Fantano.
Yep. Anyway, I don't have a least favorite because it's just bad. This album's still bad. Like I like parts of it, but
Yeah.
even if it's ironically, but it's
I'm with you
bad.
there.
But I would actually say I do have a favorite. I think it's on my own because that one's just so interesting.
Yeah.
Song. It's got some of the most memorable bad lyrics, especially the "Anger Is My Power" one. That's just so bad. But
Yeah.
it's that one that's become a double negative. So
I mean, I think The Phone Call That Changed My Life is a great opening track just because it prepares you for everything.
Mm.
And it's some of her best like lyrics are just like, what the fuck? Also finally getting up from rock bottom as a single. Like it's it's one of the most interesting songs just for like how far it goes in like the dubstep EDM range.
Mm.
But that's about it. Let us go on now to Cardinal Heart.
So my hot take about this one, is that this album's actually just not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad.
No,
it could have been. It could have been really, really good. It could have been like a petite league, I think.
let's start from the beginning.
First.
Let's start from the beginning, but you go first.
Well, I can go from the beginning on this critique. This is a band that is obviously inspired by another band, and the one song that really shows it is Origami.
Mm-hmm. Which band?
In which Cardinal Heart tried their hardest so much to be Tiger's Jaw, but they don't quite understand the elements that made Tiger's Jaw appealing. I think this band, you're right, they have quite a lot of potential in here. I don't think Cardinal Heart's still a band anymore, are they?
No.
I'd be surprised if they were. It's been many a year since any updates to this, but this album is full of problems, but it's also full. It's full of a lot of ideas. They tried to make it a bit consistent with the voicemails. It doesn't work at all. But
No.
in their words, I'm glad that you tried. Vocal performances from two of the three singers are kind of not there. I feel bad critiquing vocals when I'm really shit at singing.
Let us begin. Let's start chronologically here. Okay.
Okay.
So we graduate. Me and okay. There's four band members. There is James Ruska. There's Ethan Rader. There's Kyle Olafrowitz. And that's the three original people. And then there's Lucas Skokus who comes in later. We'll get there. James and I graduate from high school in 2013. This album comes out, they start releasing stuff around 2014. Okay, so first wave of stuff here. You got the Polarity EP. Technically, that's just one song because they canceled the EP and just released the original mix of Between Your Friends and My Friends. Sure, whatever. That was their first song, and around that same time they post the No Diving acoustic version. Okay. And so to start there, I think Between Your Friends and My Friends, the EP version, is way better than the album version. Like the mixing for the album version is just so like it crushes the things that I think make the original version better. Just like I don't know if they like make it a little bit faster, and the vocalist has to like kind of keep up in a different way. Where I think this one's allowed to breathe a little bit more. Also, the fucking moon landing shit they put on the album version, it just does not work.
I want to also say as well that just knowing from the chronological thing, the songs that they wrote at the start are their best songs, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's just because at the start they kind of just I think it was one of the Gallaghers actually that said this quote is that as for why a lot of people prefer debuts over to a person's sophomore song, it's because an artist usually has their whole lives to put out a debut, and then like 2 or 3 years compared to that to put out the sophomore.
Sure.
And that's what it feels like with the songs here. Actually, in this case, it's that they've probably had Between Your Friends and My Friends and No Diving as songs that they've probably had for a while.
Sure.
And then they've done this, and then they're just like, oh, I guess we've got to create other songs.
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of rushed it. There are some very lazy lyrics, like "Hello, Mr. Armstrong's" a pretty lazy song.
Yes, but I mean, like, it's worth noting, like, all these people, like, most of them were in other like garage bands when I was in high school. Like, this is not the first rodeo for any of them, I don't think. And so, like James was in a band called We Are the Waiting. Talk about Green Day, and Ethan was in a band called Bro Spice. So I don't like a lot of that was
them the other day.
Yeah, their Bulls on Parade cover is really something.
Oh my god!
But like I don't think they did a lot of like original stuff. I think a lot of it was just covers, and if anything was original, it was kind of like here and there. So I do appreciate that they tried to make this their big like we're gonna go for it kind of thing. And I think Between Your Friends and My Friends is one of the more interesting songs. I think No Diving though is like the acoustic version is better than the album version, but it's still pretentious.
Oh, no disagreements there.
Because it has that spoken word opening where Ethan tries his hardest to sound really serious and cool, and then the song just opens with "Fuck you and your pretentious lifestyle."
Well, this was gonna be my main criticism of the album. And whilst I think No Diving and between blah blah blah, those songs are good. They were more good instrumentally. Vocals, yeah, 2 out of 3 of them are kind of not up to scratch.
Which one do you think is the one that is?
I don't know their names.
Well, which songs?
God, I mean, Origami shit. No Diving wasn't too bad.
Because you got Origami, there you have the person who sings the vocal, the verses, and then the guy who sings the chorus. You know, we're novel with blank pages.
Both of them in Origami, but shit, I'm done.
Because then you have the third guy who sings. James only sings Irony and Puddle.
Well, James is bad. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. But I think if you were like me and you were kind of following along, because James was the guy I had a crush on, unfortunately, it's a decent start. Have my friends and your friends, and No Diving. Sure, fine, let's try it.
I just want to say, so it's kind of like, despite I'm saying that like one of them only gives good performances, they do all kind of sound the same. They don't really have enough differences in their vocals.
No.
Like Tiger's Jaw. Usually when they do, like in their more recent stuff, there's quite a lot of distinct differences between the two vocalists, mostly because one's a man and one's a woman. But even back at the start, they and when they usually had that one lead singer, their backing vocals were still distinct enough. And when you have this stuff that's just so similar, it's kind of just, why bother?
Right. But
you go first. My criticisms will stay in here forever.
I got a couple things I want to mention. A lot of these songs dragged on too long.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You could cut some of them in half and everything would be fine. And I have a specific critique for the song Anomials.
Yes.
Anomials? I don't fucking know how to pronounce that.
Sure.
The fucking guitar part it just plays one note over and over, eighth notes, and it feels like it's driving a fucking ice pick into my skull every time I listen to
You
it.
mean like the opening of it?
No, it continues on through the verses. It's just
Oh. I mean, I thought the opening of Anonymous, to jump ahead just briefly, was probably one of the more interesting parts of it, because it's like, it almost gives the feeling of like being in space or something like that.
Yeah.
And they try.
It just, the guitar part just absolutely ruined that song for me. I could
Sure.
not listen to it in full any time it came up.
Sure, that's fair. But like,
Well,
Go
you can go first, because I when I say my stuff, it's just gonna go on, and that's just gonna be it for me.
sure. Like, let's move on a little bit. 2015 comes around. I think Kyle and Ethan have graduated from high school now too, and I think I went to this album's like release party. I'm pretty sure. Like, I have a CD of this somewhere in my house. I don't know where it is. Like, I have a bunch of stickers. I know that. And I went to the show, where they unveiled this, and I don't think that's where I really learned about what the songs were about. I don't think it was then. I think it was once I bought the CD and took it home and started really listening to it that I understood. Because, okay, let's start. The first track is a voicemail. The girl's name is Lindsay Field. The song is called Finzi Lield, because of course it is.
Yeah.
Creative.
And this is probably one of, if we're ranking our voicemail tracks, this is probably one of the weaker ones.
Yeah.
I remember, I think a long time ago, Trix, you sounded like, or one of you said it sounded like she was faking it for the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was me, but I'll give you that. Ah, shit. Fuck.
Drop your beer.
Yeah, I spilled it all over my desk.
Excellent.
Oof.
Excellent. But like,
None got on the PS4, thankfully.
no, good. That's safe. Thank you. That's good. But I mean, I know these people. I went to high school with all of these people, so I know what they sound like. And Lindsay Field, I could totally see just leaving a voicemail like that, just on her own. And that it does not strike me very much as like, I'm doing this for the record. It's just something she would do. So that's fine. But it also doesn't really say much. Like, she's like, the most interesting thing is there when she's just like, I wish you wouldn't ignore me. You don't, but call me back.
Okay, bye. Love you.
And then it gets into Origami, which
I don't get the "okay, bye, love you." It's love you just something that she says. Is she like, was she actually involved with the person?
Oh no, I think
Or
they're just friends.
Was that just faked?
I think they're just friends. That's something she would just say. I'm assuming.
I got friends who say they love me, so yeah.
I'm assuming this is Ethan's recording, because Ethan reused it in his own EP later on. I can't remember what that act is called right now, but I know he reused it later, so it means something to him. But then we get into Origami.
Ethan loves Lindsay. Ethan loves Lindsay. This is high school. Fuck. Can we just like skip this whole album review and just say this is just a high school?
No, I need this. I need this.
Let him have his closure, man.
So we get into Origami, which is what I would probably call like the most thing that's the most approaching a single out of any song in here. And I don't even know what the song's about. It's just like, we're a novel with blank pages, paper birds, and small cages. You don't mean anything to me. You're just origami, whatever. It's some kind of a love song or missing you song. I don't even fucking know. Sometimes it's hard to really tell these lyrics.
Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna try and analyze this. This is, I fold my heart into tiny little shapes to mend the tears in my heart that you left. So that implies there's a breakup here.
Yes.
You know what? I'm gonna overanalyze this and give the most benefit of the doubt that I can.
Yes.
And so, folding my heart into tiny little shapes is him trying to write the words to say how you how it broke up, but is struggling. So he crumples up the paper or folds it away to throw it away. The creases that once encased my smile now fade, like ink on a page. And that's it's a bit of a shitty metaphor, but it's a way to try and say that these words were written quite a long time ago, and because of that, Like words to say that I love you have kind of fallen away. The creases are referring to wrinkles, which is just a facial thing, I guess, on that.
I think also,
Crumpled paper lines my room kind of reinforces line number one.
mhm.
It's all I have left to distract me, and that's just him saying that he's kind of stuck in this loop of thinking of her.
Sure.
Wrote a novel with blank pages is then him referring to the fact that he's trying to write the words but cannot, of paper birds and small cages, and it's all metaphorical, but it's all referring to how he's trying to tell this person that how he feels regarding the breakup, but is struggling, and every time that he writes the pen to paper, he ends up regretting it. There you go. Overanalyzed the shit. That is the most credit any of this album will get.
But we had to analyze the next verse, because the next verse is like where it breaks completely.
Oh yeah, I build paper boats to sail to yesteryear. That's actually a reference to That's actually a reference of something for Kate's in Captain Million Miles an Hour, which is I built a model airplane. It might be small, but I'm still trying to use it to fly away from you.
Sure.
A kind of metaphor, except done 1,000 times worse.
But then the next lines.
I thought you didn't believe in God. I didn't expect you to cheat with Christianity. And every day, every afternoon, tried so hard but lost to God. Jesus stole my girlfriend.
I tried so hard and got so far.
In the end, it doesn't even matter. I mean, like, I think
the cider's hitting.
Oh god, the animal's hitting.
No, the animal hasn't quite hit yet, but the cider hit.
Okay. I mean, I think one of the most notable things about Cardinal Heart lyrics is that they change on a dime sometimes, and they just paper boats sail yesterday. I thought you didn't believe in God and expect you to cheat with Christianity. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, okay, he's religious, she isn't. And then she's cheating on Christianity.
Jesus stole my girlfriend. Did it. Yeah, Balance I heard it a bit.
Sure. I mean, I think, I don't know. I like, this song is the most complete on its own fine thing. And even then, the lyrics are shitty, and like, they're trying to do metaphors that don't exactly work.
Well, I just want to kind of just sum up this album, because if we go through every song, I'm probably gonna get an aneurysm doing the lyrics, and that's because the lyrics are the thing that I mostly have a shit. Like, I have complaints about other stuff about this album, but I think the ideas that they present with them, even if they are taking a bit too much of their inspiration on their sleeve, I don't think they've executed them too bad. It does seem like they were just doing what they wanted to do,
Which is fine.
so whatever, which is fine. But the lyrics are what I have a true problem with, and when they're not just batshit confusing, they're pretty fucking petty and not in a fun way.
Let's just talk about the one song I really need to get through.
I'm gonna let you just completely talk about everything that you want about this song before I say something, because I feel like you deserve to have every single right and priority with every single bit of criticism that this song deserves.
Okay, so I was telling the story about me listening to this album because it all culminates in, I think it's like track 5. Why do you awkward guys ask me out over the internet? And I didn't
Track
really
7,
I didn't really realize what that was at first. I didn't really think about it, and then I started listening to the song, and then I realized, you know, I really liked James in high school. I asked him out a couple times. It took a while for me to get over it. You know, that is what it is. Not my most proud moment. And then I realized that this song, Why Do Awkward Guys Ask Me Out Over the Internet, is completely about that. Like, it is his metaphorical response to, I guess, everything I tried to do. And maybe it's not even fully about me. That is totally fine. And maybe it's about some other people who tried to ask him out. Because one of the interesting things about this album is that it does go the line between some of the songs are about straight relationships, some of the songs are about gay shit. Cool. But like, let's really look at this song here, okay? Because like, I asked James out a couple times. He told me that he had a crush on somebody else, so he didn't really want to go out with me. That is what it is. And so then we get to the song here. First verse. Why are we talking? Is this what I've come to? I'm not playing your games. I'll ignore you tomorrow. Okay, fair enough. Don't exactly know what this is on about yet. Ask me out on Facebook. Is this what you've come to? Drunk Tumblr messages. When's the last time I saw you? And so okay. So now we're deep in it now of like, okay. I didn't really see James much after high school. But, he was around. I was around. Chicago is an hour away at most. And I think, if you want to catch up with people, you probably try to talk to them and be like, hey, how's it going? You try to make friends and try to keep up with people. That's a pretty normal thing. So to come out here and criticize somebody for trying to ask you out and like try to catch up with you a little bit, even if you're not exactly the most familiar of people, you're not like deep friends or anything like that. It's a bit weird to criticize that because that's just how you keep in contact. I will give him points for being like, yeah, drunk Tumblr messages, that's kind of fucked. And I did send him some drunk Tumblr messages one time, and I don't think they were that bad or anything. It was just kind of like, hey.
Why Tumblr? That's the only thing that confuses me about this.
You were not a gay in the mid 2000s.
The mid 2010s.
Okay,
yeah, my bad.
I don't think I could choose when I was bi. I think that just happened.
I mean, I was on Tumblr, he was on Tumblr, I followed him on Tumblr, and it was kind of like, I don't know, I was drunk and was like, oh, I haven't talked to him in a while, let's just see how he is. Not never realizing that this is what it would come to, of course. So, next part of this is kind of the chorus here. You never stood a chance, but I'm glad you tried. That's more than I ever did. I'd rather be the one to deny. This was your last try. Please don't make me sit through this again. You never stood a chance, but I'm glad you tried. Okay. So, what he's saying here is that, like, I'm glad you did what you did, but kind of fuck off. Because it never would have happened.
So, I actually, I think this one part, whilst it's confusing as shit and whatever, I'll give this at least one possible overthinking of how it could be, and it could just be trying a way to express conflicting feelings about the whole thing. And now the next verse, which kind of negates that,
Sure.
takes it away. But if we just took this by itself, I think this could easily be seen as a more conflicting feeling, like, hey, yeah, I like that I'm at least getting some attention. It helps my confidence, but I'm not sure if I want this kind of thing.
That's fair.
I think that's fair. I don't think that's what he's going for, but if it is what he's going for, then because it's a possibility, then I think that's fair.
Okay, I can see that. That's yeah. Even still, it just. I mean, I really would have wished she just told me this stuff because that would have really helped clear a lot of things up for me. I think. Just be like, hey.
Yeah, you don't need to be a passive aggressive bitch.
Yeah, it's just.
This reminds me of that trade I saw, which was I was about to leave a voicemail on my boyfriend's answering machine, but then I realized I don't want to be in his hip hop mixtape.
But I think this is in response to the drunk Tumblr messages where I think I don't think I asked him out again then. I think I asked him out once and maybe twice. I don't know. Twice maybe over text and then Facebook, or I said something in person. I can't remember exactly what anymore. But like clearly he was not interested. He was in love with somebody else. There's a certain audacity though to write this song and number one, not sing the lyrics, to have everybody but you and the band sing it for you. Which means that he could not even convey the message on his own. Number two, to have the person you like sing the song for you. I'm not going to say who it is. You have one of two choices. But, like, to have that person sing the song is a move. It's a move. And I really sit with that sometimes. And I'm like, you really had him sing this for you to tell me how you feel through song. Like,
benefit of the doubt. It's hard to play drums and sing.
Yeah. And as we later learn, James is not the best singer, so understandable. But then, like, talking about like how he'd rather be the one to deny, he'd rather say no. He doesn't like being rejected himself, and it's more than he ever could because clearly he hasn't tried to make a move on this person, on this guy, which it maybe reveals a bit about how he's feeling of like, you're shooting your shot, that's great, no, but great, but also like I am sitting here and like critiquing you and like really going off on you about this when I am kind of not acting on these feelings myself. And maybe there's some conflictingness there, but it's also kind of petty and kind of cowardly.
Yeah.
And again, like the next verse here is like, why don't we catch up? I barely even know you. At least be confident. When's the last time I saw you? Again,
that completely negates all of my furies.
But like, it's also like, you try to talk to people if you like them and you enjoy them, and you try to like, hey, let's go out and have lunch or something. I don't think that's like very uncommon. Like, even if you're out of high school, like if you enjoy somebody's company, even if you're not that close to friends, catching up, trying to catch up with them, that just happens. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Right.
No.
So like,
I ran into my ex at Target the other day, and I talked to her for a good 5 minutes.
And so it's like, does it matter so much that we don't know each other that well, or he doesn't know this person, I guess, because I don't know if it's truly about me or not, which, that's one thing. But like, to just automatically assume that because you're not very close and you don't really know each other super well, that like it's not even worth like having a conversation or going to have coffee together or whatever, like, that's so fucking petty. And then the line, at least be confident, when this whole song is a metaphor for his lack of confidence himself, is like the line that really gets me. It's like, you talk about confidence.
It wouldn't bother me so much if it felt like it had just any bit of self-awareness to it, but
Right.
just the context of how you hear it feels like it doesn't really.
No, it's like I think this is one of the most negative albums we listened to on this whole podcast. And like,
I
go ahead.
You go first. You're still going.
Right. Because it's like, I don't mind that this song is about me and that it references things that I did. I'm kind of honored in a way that like, this meant something to him. This inspired him to write a song. And for a long time, I tried to own up to this. And like, I really tried to like this song and this album because of this. Like, I was showing people this album. I was showing people this song specifically, and be like, hey, I inspired this. I was really
showed this to us like at the start of this podcast.
Yes, like I had friends that I was like, hey, listen to this song, isn't this interesting? Like, I've really tried to like it.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how to feel about it still, because like, at times I'm kind of offended, at times I'm kind of like, I did something, he did something, that's great, Like, I think writing about other people is kind of how you make art, and it's interesting. But the extreme pettiness on display, the extreme just like, holy shit, dude, calm down, I'm just trying to talk to you. I wanted to have this forum to talk about it, because I've never really been able to properly respond to it. The closest I ever came to...
It's okay, Dominic, we're your therapy session.
The closest I ever came to talking about it with him was when they released the Demos EP the year after, and I was just like, hey, are there any songs about me on this? And he responded by saying, no, there are no songs about you on this. And that's the extent of the conversation we had about it.
Which, that's exactly what you would say if you wrote a song about somebody.
But like, God. I don't know. At times I'm just like, shit, God.
Let it all out. You can cry.
I'm not gonna cry.
No one will write a song about it.
Well, maybe Ritalin, you can't be too careful.
Yeah, actually, I might sample it, to be honest.
He had his time to write this song and record this song, so I'm just taking so much time on our podcast to just respond. James, I hope that things have changed for you. I know you're a therapist now. I hope you've really learned to process your emotions and grow up with that a bit. Because, if this was my therapist and I learned about this, I would not trust him at this time. But, it's been 5 years. Things have changed. You know, I hope you're living life and you're doing well. And I fucking bought this album twice now, so I hope you're happy with the money.
And most importantly, yes, Dominic is still single.
He's been in a relationship. I think he's fine. But
Or not though.
But that's that song. That is my conflicting feelings about that song. Yeah, I still at times I'm still kind of like, that's cool. You wrote a song about me. But briefly before we go on before we stop talking about this album though, I do want to point out Irony, because fuck you for that song. Irony is just 20 seconds of James being like, I like men, and if you think that's gay, you're a fag. And having
you'd get canceled for that.
Yeah.
Now.
And having the two guys who I think they're both straight come in for the chorus on that last part of that's a really something. Where they all harmonize on the word fag.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that. Again, James writing it clearly, I'm sure. And then I think you both had problems with You Stole My Heart, but most importantly My Bagel Bites before.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the song I almost died when you mentioned the title on the podcast.
It's not that bad though. Like listening to it.
It's not terrible, but it's not great.
Like it's kind of a nice like beach evening kind of thing. It's very mellow and just kind of like whatever. It's still weird and about like this person's ranting to their friends about what somebody did to them, and that kind of goes back to like the emo like, is this being manipulative at all kind of thing.
Look, I just want to put out my my points about the lyrics on this album.
Sure.
As well, just like because kind of need to wrap this up soon as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the lyrics were the thing that shot me to tears in this album. I think they're pretty poorly written, sometimes lazy and repetitive in a very boring and unnecessary way. Especially since there's not really that much choruses on here, so why is most of this stuff as repetitive as it is? It gets pretty unnecessarily petty. They lack the self-awareness that it should. But with this being a pretty major problem, I do think that their potential that they had, the vocal performances were a bit of a letdown, but I don't think there was so much of a letdown that they couldn't be fixed. I think this is a band that if they just stuck to it and just took a bit more time and not trying to rush out an album, but instead just trying to put some songs out there properly, they could have put out something that was a lot more enjoyable and said, I don't think this is a band that would have ever been, I don't even think they would have ever been Weekend Run Club levels,
No.
but they could have put out an EP which I would say, hey, look, if you like this type of music, here's a cool underground band. I think they could have been that. And then, the members could have eventually gone and done other stuff that maybe that would get bigger. In the end, I don't hate this album, but I hate parts of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
The thing that gets me though is that they got Lucas Kukas, who I think is a better singer than any of the other three, to come in for the Better All Along demos. And what I'm assuming is that they meant to do more with that, because that's where the Tiger's Jaw cover comes from. That's where these two other songs come from, is this like post-album, what do we do next kind of thing, before they just kind of stopped doing anything. And I think that we talked about before, like, these demos are some of the best stuff they've done, because like the lo-fi really suits them, and it kind of masks some of the shittier lyrics. And if there's anything positive from any of this, it's just that I started looking at Lucas Kukas again, and I think his other stuff is way better. Like, a lot of it's kind of like, local garage band stuff, and I think he can work on his vocals a bit, but he has a good voice. There's definitely something there. And, if you're interested, just look up Skeletubbies, just look up Vinegar Kids. That does stuff better than any of this Cardinal Heart stuff really does.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Allie Dooley for her photography in the Better All Along demo cover art. You bullied me as a child. I still remember that, so fuck you.
God.
I'm sorry for laughing, but
do you need a therapist? I've just learned the name of one quite recently.
I have a therapist, but thank you. I just needed to take this time to formally respond to everything.
with that, I think we go into favorites and least favorites, and
Yeah.
throw this into the closet forever. Because I don't think this will ever be in a rankings episode.
No.
I will. I mean, I will put all these albums into rankings for sure.
Good on you. My favorite of this is No Diving. I thought that was the only one that I could realistically see myself going back to at any time, but probably won't. And least favorite, oh, it's tough because one of these was very, very petty, but then I actually think the worst off here is Origami because, my God, what the fuck are they on about?
Yeah. I'll give you that on Origami. I don't really have a favorite, but yeah, Origami's not good.
My least favorite's Irony, I think, just because of the audacity of it. It's just it does not do the thing they were trying to do. Of like, it's ironic, fucking. I don't even know. It's Tumblr humor almost. And the lyrics, the vocals on Puddle, I think, are the worst on the album. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, James. That's just how it is. Why You Awkward Guys? Probably, like, I just still don't know how to feel about that song. It has like the most pop punk vibes of like I got a dirty little secret kind of ditty going on there. But if I had to pick any song I actually liked, I'd probably either say the original version of Your Friends and My Friends off the Polarity EP is more interesting. Shout out to Mausatui for being this is now the second act we've covered that has sampled the moon landing. Yeah, that's something. I think Coffee Grounds though is like the closest they come to having a song that actually hits as a proper song.
Oh yeah, Coffee Grounds is their best song in total.
Yes, that's it. That's Cardinal Heart for you. We've done it.
Now let's go into some good albums next week, huh? I don't know if I want to rank these albums, to be honest.
Let's do it.
Well, I think we can all just pick the worst. Dee Dee King.
Yep.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's either Emily or Dee Dee King to me. So I'll just say it's Dee Dee King for you.
Yeah, well, the difference is that Dee Dee King should actually know what he's doing.
This is correct. So I'll just say Dee Dee King is the worst.
Yeah.
Secretly, I think Farrah might be my favorite, but I'll probably put Cardinal Heart above that just because I'll probably go back to Cardinal Heart more.
Oh, Farrah Abraham is my favorite, and anyone
Farrah Abraham is my favorite too.
Oh shit!
It's the only one I'll actually go back to. Cardinal Heart, I think, is the one that has the most talent.
You know what? Fuck it. Farrah Abraham is my favorite.
Okay, cool. We have successfully ranked this. I think we're all in universal agreement. Let's move on to what we're doing next week. And you know what? For once, I'm going to start. And this is a band that I've actually been meaning to pick for a while. It never fell under my Australian guidelines, but seeming as I've been breaking that as of recent, why not do it again? They've put out an album 1 week ago now, actually, from recording, so it'll probably be around like 5 weeks by the time this gets released. And it's probably rumored to be their second last album, so God, I hope that's not true. And it's the new Brockhampton album, Roadrunner, New Light, New Machine.
Sweet.
New Light, New Machine.
I'm gonna do a better rap rock album because I feel bad about Dee Dee King. And I accidentally alley-ooped it because I was going to do this album anyways, because it's a weird thing. I'm going to be doing the soundtrack to the movie Judgment Night.
It's the soundtrack to Judgment Night. All right, that's interesting. I'm going to watch that movie.
To Judgment Day.
Night.
Okay, I was thinking because you cut out for me. That's why I was confused.
Judgment Night.
Judgment Night. It's got like one of the collabs is like Slayer and Ice-T. The one other is Dinosaur Jr. and Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
I'm down with that. I'm gonna stick to local acts, and I'm gonna choose the first album by Kalimasi, which is called Wind Instrument, and it's kind of a more emo post-punk stuff. So that's really, I think, the first time we're really going for that outside of like Luca Brasi.
Is it what's the album called?
Wind Instrument. I put it in the Discord chat for you.
Oh, yep. Cool, I've actually spelled it right. Well, until then, this has been Dissonant Waves for another week. I have been Red on it. You can catch me on my website, running for kids at github.io. You can also watch me on my YouTube channel where I do absolutely nothing, but I will actually be posting a project in the next coming months to celebrate our good friend Mini-Me's reaching of his Patreon goals, so stick around for that.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to all of the albums you've been putting out recently, Ritalin.
Yes, the What Lurks Below has come above, and the Ambient Project Others. Ambient Project Others is where I have 4 20-minute long tracks just to piss off somebody I know who hates songs that go for over 4 minutes.
Excellent. I've been Dominic. You can catch me on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. If you want to learn more about my opinions on things, I've written stuff for Tilted Windmill Studios. I also have a couple articles up on Medium. If you want to search for that, just search Dominic Chikoki. Yeah.
I've been Trix. You can catch me on Twitter at procrastinaut_. It's a shit post. I also have a YouTube channel where I have an EP that has more listens than all of Cardinal Heart's full EP.
Now, it's a quick question for shit posting. How's your Scott Adams adventure going?
It's been a week since I've done it, so I'm gonna add him 7 times today to make up for what I've missed.
Excellent. Good. All right, that's gonna do it for us, everybody. I hope you have a great day. James, I hope you have a better life.